Well, if you look around League of Legends, you might notice that there isn't really too much to talk about now. Which is absolutely awesome for me, because during these times I get to talk about the topics which people are too lazy to dive into. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I make a quick video talking about one of the things that Riot once announced and then never talked about it, while I was really excited about it. I mean, if I look at the other topics, we have the layoffs, which I have talked about a few times. Legends of Runeterra got a new direction, though they did get some new skins recently. Bandletale is right around the corner. I have also seen a lot of people complaining about the current balance of League of Legends. TFT, on the other hand, is kinda just doing well. But then Wild Rift arrived with some cringy content. Yeah, apparently the data miners knew about this one for a while and they were getting ready. Because the two new skins we got are Lovestruck Lux and Ezreal. And do you know what's the deal with these two skins? They literally just flirt with each other. That is actually the point of these. So you know this set some corners of the internet on fire. But you know what? None of these are worth talking about as much as my favorite game, which never came to be. Or at least, yet. You see, when League got its 10th anniversary, it was my favorite moment in my YouTubing career. Arcane is probably close second. And that's because we did have some expectations for Riot to announce something. I mean, the fighting game was kinda announced at EVO before that, so we were getting ready for that official announcement. But no, we got a lot more out of nowhere. Valorant was revealed, League was announced to be on mobile, which eventually became Wild Rift. This is also where Legends of Runeterra was announced as their new League of Legends card game. Project L was revealed in its original form, but also, that's right, a game which we knew as Project F. And out of all the other games, this is the one I was excited for the most. And it should be obvious why. Being someone who really enjoys the world of League of Legends, at that time there were still no ways to do it. This was before the MMO was announced, and before Riot Forge was announced to be giving us games that can explore this universe. So to me, out of all the other games, this looked like the only one that can actually give us some exploration of League's universe. I was hoping it would be some simple adventuring like Lego Star Wars. Though in the end, this game might be taking a totally different direction. Because after the layoffs started and people started leaving Riot, all the stalkers on the internet did their work and they started looking into what were those writers doing before and where are they going. And as people were snooping around, they noticed that for quite a while a lot of writers were teasing what's happening at Riot. So let me give you a summary of what people found throughout the last month or so. See, first, you need to remember that the anniversary happened in 2019. That's technically where all of these games were announced. But after that happened, we have simply not heard about Project F since, at least not by any official channels. Which is why a lot of people believed that Project F was simply cancelled. But it seems like it was only frozen because info around it started surfacing around 2021. And yes, again, it kinda originates from people being stalkers. Anyway, a name that people noticed started popping up was Yara Corey, who seemed to be some kind of a producer on an R&D project at Riot Games. In case you don't know, Riot has constantly multiple R&D projects working in the background, with R&D being research and development, or them looking for what kind of games could be popular. Actually, let me rephrase that. They're just trying to see what fun games they can make. But for some reason, every time an R&D project is mentioned, a lot of people, by default, think back to the MMO. But from the info, you'll see that it is pretty easy to tell when Riot is looking for someone to do something in the MMO. And that did not seem to be happening here. So in July 2021, it seemed like Riot was looking for a senior producer to help them with a new project, which they referred to as a novel and ambitious Riot game. After that, fast forward a whole year and Riot started hiring for the same game again. But here's the interesting thing. This is where it was revealed that the new game would be done in Unreal Engine. Which is interesting because up until that point, Riot was always working with their own engines. Okay, besides Unity. And that's because Riot learned the hard way that making their own engines and making it good is really hard. So it's interesting to see that Riot leaned towards Unreal Engine, which for the longest time didn't really have a great reputation with multiplayer games, but then Fortnite picked it up and things became better. Now fast forward a whole year again and suddenly the team is looking for people again. And here they refer to the game as a genre-defining PvE game. Which means this is not Project L, this is most likely not the MMO, this has to be Project F. Project F is alive! Now of course the layoffs then happened and people started getting worried about their game again. Thankfully, the people on Project F stayed there. So while a lot of cuts into the budget were made, the R&D project seemed to be alive. Now, since this is an Unreal Engine project, it would explain why there was so much specularity everywhere in that demo. But more than that, from this point on, every time anyone brought up Unreal Engine, people thought that, hey, this would be Project F. But that may not necessarily be the thing, because every time there was a job listing for seemingly the MMO, Unreal Engine was mentioned as well, so it is likely that the MMO is being experimented with using Unreal Engine. People first noticed this on Reddit when they went through the job listings. Here Riot was working for a principal game designer who would be working on PvE ranging from abilities to skill trees to NPC AI to progressions, with the requirements being creating complex systems, but also deep understanding of PvE games such as ARPGs or MMOs. Now to be fair, using this description alone, it could also fit Project F, but then the listing mentioned that you also have to be good with monetization. Yeah, look, I'm really trying to blame this on the MMO, but truth be told, it also fits ARPGs. Now, separate from that, there was also a post that really tried to pin this on the MMO. Because in the listing, it was quoted that it would be a genre-defining game that would be delivered to millions of players. Which, to be fair, would fit the description of an MMO. But then you have other writers who called their R&D projects genre-defining games. Anyway, in this listing, Riot directly asked for experience with Unreal Engine, which is where this theory really started to fall in place. Now, how is all of this relevant to Project F? Well, only a month ago, some news arrived. I first saw this on the MGG France Twitter, where once again people started stalking a little bit, and they brought up a LinkedIn of a writer who worked on a lot of interesting things around Riot games. So, let's see where this is heading. Just know that the name of this person was likely cropped because they didn't really want to stalk them. So first, they worked on Wild Rift, but later a mobile incubation project in R&D. This is interesting because they specifically said mobile. So Riot is also working on a mobile game? I don't actually know if this is connected to Project F2, but honestly I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, in that incubation state, they worked on system design, quest design, and social system design, with most of the work being pushing this into the prototype state. See, the system design and quest design is what really made me pause, because this could be related to an RPG-like game, or it may be just missions in TFT. So yeah, truth be told, this one didn't tell us that much. But after that, the same person, in 2021, which remember, that's when the R&D team really started picking up, moved onto a third-person action RPG in Unreal Engine 5. But here's the kicker, that project had roguelike elements and daily quests. And in addition to that, it had a seasonal model, factions, and crafting. This actually reveals quite a lot, especially if people start making the connection that this might be Project F. It seems like using Unreal Engine 5, Riot is actually putting together a proper RPG. Not an MMO, just a good old classic RPG. with roguelike elements, so you can come back, and seasonal stuff, and probably battle passes, and oh god. Which takes us into 2023, where we saw the last update. Here, they focused on the narrative of a multiplayer action RPG. And here I wanna read what they did. From defining what form of content should fill encounters to exploring how to randomize and serve up content. My time was spent prototyping features to keep gameplay fresh for years to come. I additionally helped support a separate League Inc. project with my narrative design experience. My efforts there were focused around campaign design, quest systems, and zone design and world building. All of which would be incorporated into League? I mean, that does sound like a PvE game mode in League, but by incorporating they also may mean that it's just incorporated into the universe. So it might still be a totally separate game. However, that doesn't matter, because once again it was confirmed that Project F is alive. It seems to be some kind of an RPG in Unreal Engine 5, which does have a seasonal model. We don't really have any more details, but to be honest, I'll take this over anything else. I've been excited about this game since 2019 without any real reason. The teaser we got didn't show us anything, and I really mean nothing at all. And one day, hopefully before the MMO, Project F will be at least announced. Look, this one has been cooking for a while and the job listings have been piling up for it. Okay, situations change.